Welcome to The Raw Perspective. I'm your host, Monique Raw Brent, and today, for my very first podcast, and it would be almost impossible to set the bar any higher than this, we will be speaking with the truly unstoppable Tracy Schmitt. Born with no arms and no legs, Tracy has gone on to become an international motivational speaker, speaking on stages all over the world. A true inspiration. What a powerhouse. Welcome to the podcast. Let's go. Welcome, Tracy Schmitt. I just want to go over a little list of some of your accomplishments that are so incredible. You're a bronze medalist in downhill skiing, a World Cup sailor. You've climbed the Himalayas. You were nominated for the 2018 Women of Essence Awards. You're a global consultant. You've recently written a book, Unstoppable You, which is a bestseller. So you are truly unstoppable.
Thank you, Monique.
Thank you so much for being here. So what's coming up next for you?
Oh my goodness. There are stages all around the world. My agenda has 18 countries in it for 2018. It must be the magical 18 of 2018.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
So this week I'm off to Las Vegas for a massive conference. It's a conference in technology, and I am being a part of an experience with a man named Alan Bernard, who's from South Africa.
Okay.
And he's invented a technology on decision making.
Wow.
So he's bringing me in to open up and warm up the crowd and having everyone believe that anything is possible.
That's amazing. Technology on decision making. Now that's actually not an easy thing for a lot of people. And I actually saw you in an interview talking about the way that you make decisions. It's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, decide, right?
Yes. And this is not his technology.
That's yours?
That's mine. And that's what I recommend for all of us, whether we're an artist or an entrepreneur or just someone trying to do grocery shopping to be more impactful and less stressed in the moment. I like that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and not to belabor, because eventually that's sort of what it breaks down to. But Alan's decision-making technology is rooted in lots of science. The artists and the creative left-brainers and you and I think, who we are, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 works. And I think it works for the Allens I've got you and I are right-brainers. The artists are right-brainers, mm-hmm. and the thinkers are the left-brainers and the scientists. And it doesn't mean we can't use all parts of our brain. We just naturally go to one part. But Alan, who's a scientist, he has researched all the authorities. So, for example, in a hospital, who are all the award-winning doctors that make a decision to operate or not to operate? And what are the variables that they look at when they decide to operate?
Wow.
And he statistically analyzes all of that, and he throws that into an app so that every doctor now can have that authority, award-winning doctor in their pocket when they decide operate or not operate under certain circumstances.
Okay, is this based on like an...
Very different.
Mm-hmm. Is it based on like an intelligent algorithm? Because I think I was listening to some kind of a podcast about that technology recently.
Oh, amazing. That's really neat.
Well, I have to say that your approach of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sounds really incredible to me, because I can't tell you the number of times that I have agonized over making decisions. And when you're spending that time trying to figure out if you're going to do something, you lose all of that momentum and inspiration, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Even sometimes we really belabor which blue, right?
Yes.
That will give us that shadow or that under level of color before we layer further, and and we cover it up and change it 100 times anyway. Gesundheit.
Oh, thank you.
Gesundheit. Yeah. Yes, it's so true. It's just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, decide. It isn't really, we are not doctors that need a scientific algorithm in 99% of our decisions.
Right.
I use it even in my restaurant meals. Sometimes I don't know what I want. All of it's so good. And now I'm not talking to Monique, my beloved Monique, who doesn't live in the same city. And I could be conversing with you and hearing more about your new amazing podcast. And instead yes. We're both like looking at a menu, right?
Right, exactly.
Present.
Exactly. So speaking of inspiration and momentum, I did hear you say in one of your interviews, I've been watching a lot of your interviews because you are so incredible and dynamic. Just such a pleasure to be able to talk with you. I heard you say that you believe that what you focus on grows. And I'm a true believer of exactly that. So I'm wondering, how do you set the stage for your day? Like when you start off the day first thing and you decide how you're going to focus, like what's the process for you?
On my most effective days that I am super set up for success and I have the biggest sort of mind-blowing breakthroughs
yes.
are the days that I start at like 5:30 a.m.
Yes.
And I choose that crazy hour because my mind isn't fully awake, right? We have our sleep and our REM stage, our dreaming stage. So 5:30, you're waking up, but you're not awake yes. in your brain. So it's a purposely interrupting sleep mode of sorts at 5:30. And then meditating for like an hour.
Amazing.
And focusing on what you focus on grows and having an influence over that day. Like, so I imagine, this is going to be an incredible award-winning show with Monique. And we're really going to get great value out of each other and we're going to feel fulfilled and we're going to have laughter and love and some magic in the air
yes.
just by talking with each other. And we're having like this fun laughter with each other and enjoying the show. And what I need to also imagine in that hour of meditation is technology, error, seamlessness too, right? Yes. I forgot that part of it all. And to make sure that that's part of our conversation.
Yes.
So in that hour, it's a meditating, and there is the, like feeling your body and getting into that meditative state. But that when you're in that meditative state, it's actually an invite to action, and it's envisioning, and if somebody's not well, envision them healing, and it's that I want to be on big stages as big as, J.T. Fox or Tony Robbins, that I see myself on those stages with 2,500 or a home, like I'm a renter, so see myself owning a home, all of these different pieces is in that meditation hour. But it's even talking about what you focus on grows, creates some incredible invite to action. A couple of days ago, I'm on big stages all the time, but I try to make a difference in schools in between events and gigs when I'm in the city. And it is filling the time tremendously. There's no time to catch up on emails, but it's really hard to say no when a magical school says, can you come in, just click and give the kids some inspiration and belief in themselves. And I'm like, okay. So I go in with the schools, and she said, well, what do you focus on pros? And it's like, well, I'm like 5 foot tall, and I'm Asian, and I really love basketball, and I want to be a basketball player. And I'm like, well, you focus on grows and envision yourself, not just when you're seeing the basket and successfully getting that ball through the basketball hoop, but on the rep basketball team when you go to college. Mm-hmm. And then you also do whatever it takes. So if she's a girl, make a point of who can you play with. Like, so I was a person with a disability, so I can sail with Paralympians, or I could sail with able-bodied people.
Yes.
And so I sailed with able-bodied people because that would just like drive my performance skills. So when I raced on the para side of things, I was pushed that much further. Yes. So she's a girl. So she should push herself and play basketball with guys as much as she can. Mm-hmm. And with people taller than herself as much as she can. And people that are not Asian as much as she can. right? Like, so to do her very best to play with the very best basketball players.
Right.
And just let go of gender and race
Yes.
and ability, just who is more successful at basketball.
Right.
And do it, but also envision yourself as, I can make the rep team, and see it, and just say, and then the other trick is that self-mirror talk every day. I can do it. I am confident. I am confident. I am confident. And sometimes it might take you 24 times, but you don't leave that mirror talking to yourself, facing yourself, until you believe, I am confident.
Absolutely.
And 90% of it is projecting that confidence.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I actually, I did that mirror practice a little bit, just with saying, I love you to myself. And it was incredible to me to experience the fact that I felt like I was lying the first 100 times I said that. Like, I couldn't look myself in the eye and say, I love you, but I can now, right?
Yeah.
So,
and the tears, right? And then the anger, and then the shame. You're like, there's 3 easy words. I'm only talking to me, myself, and I in the mirror. Yes. Why is this so phenomenally heart-wrenching, right?
Absolutely.
And such an exercise in, as you say, integrity. What? I'm not lying, right? And you want to love yourself, but it's not about wanting it. It's about being it, right? It's about authentically loving yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds so silly, and it's so powerful.
So powerful.
And how can others love you and love your art and love your business and love your community and love others if they don't love themselves first?
Absolutely. You have to authentically love and forgive yourself in order to feel that way for other people. You have to let go of judgments for yourself in order to let go of judgments of other people. It's a practice.
Yeah.
Right? So
true.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have done some really, really extraordinary things, okay? You have a disability, born without arms and legs, and yet you are sailing tall ships, climbing mountains, skiing. I have never done any of these things. So it's super, super extraordinary. So what would you say to someone that is standing in front of an obstacle that they don't know how to surmount? Like, what are the kind of things that you say to yourself that make you believe that you can go forward and do these amazing things?
You know, when I started sailing, the very first year, young girl, and without my legs, because I swim with my legs off, I sail with my legs off. It's a safety thing. I wear a life jacket like everybody else, but I was so top heavy that I kept falling out of the boat.
Yeah.
And I knew, even though I was falling out of the boat, that I was going to learn to sail, right? And I knew I could do it. I knew I was just figuring out how to balance in the boat.
Right.
You know, it was really important that you just go for it. You just do it anyway. You just climb back in the boat. And, you know, the end of that summer, all the other kids, they all got their white sail level 1. And essentially, I failed. Mm-hmm. I didn't get my white sail level 1. I didn't pass the test. But I knew I could do it. It didn't matter that I didn't get the test. There was no doubt in my mind, somewhere in my gut, somewhere in my naive young brain of blind faith that we have when we're children, I can do it.
Yes.
And so I went back the next summer. I loved swimming. I wasn't scared of falling out of the boat. I had a life jacket on. I passed my swim test. And I went back and I learned how to balance in the boat the next summer. It just took me a little longer because everybody's teaching me arms and legs tricks, and that's not my thing, right? Mm-hmm. I had to learn how to balance in the boat my way, for my body. Mm-hmm. So I got my white sail level 1 the next summer. And just like all the other kids, all of us together, we all got our white sail level 2 together. And unlike all the other kids, once I learned how to balance in the boat, I also got my white sail level 3 and my bronze 4. Right? I had an affinity for the wind, and I'd worked so hard at learning the boat and passing that I just worked so hard. So it was actually a big bonus that I kept falling out of the boat. I just had to do that much more to really stay in the boat and to learn about it and to prove it to everybody that I could master the sailing and get A+ on the test knowledge of sailing. And so I think it's just completely believing you can.
Yes.
No matter what. It's full on. Doesn't matter if you're failing right now. It's just like, oh, this is my journey.
Yes.
This is setting me up for success. This struggle here is going to be a massive bonus in a little bit.
Yes.
And that deep-seated belief in self is huge. No matter what the circumstances, you just climb back in that boat.
Absolutely. Oh man, that's amazing. So I wonder if, because I think that something that prevents people from trying again and again is sort of externalizing their focus to how does this appear to other people? What does this look like to someone else that I keep falling out of the boat? What does it look like to somebody else that I didn't get my level 1, you know? How do you shift that focus to this is my practice and my experience?
Yes. And what you focus on grows. So Are you focusing on mastering your sailing, or are you focused on what other people are thinking?
Right.
And I so focused on the sailing and the fun of sailing that I don't even remember feeling bad that I didn't get past the test. And there are times I have felt bad, right? That I was a youth, I was a child, and everybody filled my soul as a child and said I'm worthy and fun and grateful and smart, right? Like that's what we do with kids.
Yeah.
So why do we do that as adults?
Right.
And it's funny, we talk about in the sailing world, and I did it in the sailing world, even as a high performance competitor in World Cup regattas, right? I went from a child with a disability to sailing against gigantic Viking men, right? On World Cup regatta start line. And most of them are able-bodied. And I'm the girl that started falling out of the boat. And now I'm a World Cup sailor that probably definitely outsails all my instructors the year that I failed. I can sail better than all of them now, right? I'm a World Cup sailor. But I never brought it into my world. I never brought it into my tough relationship with my mom or my sister. Amazing relationship with my mom and my sister. But you sometimes you have a conversation that's tough, right?
Yeah.
Or I never brought it into my entrepreneur world. So now I gotta earn an income, and I'm a speaker for my business. But I didn't bring that focus and that confident belief into my business self. I could do it in sailing, but I didn't bring it to my art. I didn't bring it to my, corporations. When I'm speaking to MD Financials, all these accountants that are, seem incredibly smart, and they've got VP and director and CEO behind their title, and I am their speaker, saying, focus on it, it grows. So focus on what works, right? And so I needed to bring that practice of confidence, and I can do it, and focus, and seeing the successful future. Like I see myself rounding a mark in sailing. I need to see myself successfully on a stage.
Okay.
In front of thousands. And so that's what I needed to bring into my entrepreneur life. And when I did that, literally, like the month that I did that, you have seen, as someone that I met early on, that you saw my 14-month journey. I've had a lifelong journey of incredible successes, but my entrepreneur world, my business world became super successful when I brought my sport focus of positive thinking into my business world.
That's so incredible.
Yeah. 14 months has just been 5 times my income, right? It's huge.
I met you right at the beginning of that 14 months in that case. Yes. And that's so extraordinary for me, because when I met you, I had never heard of you before. I didn't know anything about what you were doing. All I know is that when I met you eye to eye, face to face, and I didn't see a disability at all. I met this beautiful, confident, cheerful woman. And after a 5-minute long conversation, it wasn't until you walked away that I saw physical differences. And that was extraordinary to me. And then you sat in my painting class, not with your group of friends, because there wasn't a seat for you. And I've seen that make grown women cry at paint night events, and sat with perfect strangers, making them feel comfortable, making them feel awesome, and then painted an amazing painting, like without hands, you know? And it doesn't even matter. Like, just as a human being, I think that's extraordinary. And what you project to the world is ability. I don't even know if you can be described with the word disability, because you are far more able, you have been proven to be in your life than I have been in mine in many, many ways, you know, and I admire you for that. And so it was so extraordinary for me to just have this incredible impulse to want to know more about you. And then to see this like skyrocket that just happened, I'm like, was this already happening and I didn't know? You know?
No. It's just the last 14 months have been phenomenal. They've been great. And you know what really fills my soul too is painting.
Yes.
So it was all, I think it was all like a perfect, like what you focus on grows, and filling my life with laughter, love, and magic. And then Mandy, my friend, called and said, why don't we go to this painting class?
Yes.
And that was you. And so that filled my soul, being able to paint again and do that, and not being, you know, sit up with the canvases and the paints and all sorts, but you just made it easy and seamless for us all. And to deliver it with a room full of, you know, other vulnerable people, really glad to be enjoying the night. Mm-hmm. And you made all of us feel so comfortable and so capable, and that everybody's contribution was valuable and extraordinary, and everybody left so proud that they couldn't believe that they produced what they produced thanks to your coaching. You know, we all, I don't know, do you know the analogy about circus fleas?
No.
So the way they train circus fleas, they're circus fleas because the really cool thing happens is there are all these fleas in a jar, and you know they're trying to get out and fly away, and they open the jar, and you think they would all disappear and scatter and fly away. But what's cool about circus fleas is they don't. The circus magic trick is they open the jar and they stay in the jar. Well, the way they train them is they got the fleas in there and the jar is closed, and the fleas bang their head, bang their head, bang their head, bang their head on the lid of the jar. Uh-huh. So they learn not to fly, so they bang their head. So come circus night, they open the jar, and the fleas just stay in the jar. And they don't fly out because they've been taught that they're going to bang their head.
Okay.
And so I think we as human beings, we do this. We're like, you know, people are, you know, you fail a test, so your math teacher says, oh, you're not a mathematician. And you do a painting, and somebody laughs and says, is that a dog or a human, right? Or you do a business adventure with your boss who needs to look good and needs their role to be validated and secured. And so you come in as an employee with this brilliant cost-saving idea, and they're like, yeah, we've tried that kind of thing before. It doesn't work. And they just shut it down. And so we're like banging our heads on our confidence and our abilities to project our ideas and our abilities. And it's just that lid that day, that one time. Like, I think it's really important that when people talk to us and we hear no or unrealistic or that's not going to work, that's just one interaction and one circumstance and one context.
Absolutely.
I hear no and O like K-N-O-W. They just don't know. Right? They just don't know. When I was trying to sail with these Olympians, these able-bodied Viking men, and they're like, nice to meet you, and they want to get on their way because they're Olympian high-performance sailors. They're not expecting, one, a female, and two, a girl with 4 limbs missing. There's no way I could do what they do. They're high-performance athletes, perfection bodies, walking around 7 feet tall, blonde, and massive pipes, right? Work out in the gym every morning. How does little old Tracy with no arms and no legs do what I do, right? They just don't know. They're not saying, no, I can't borrow their boat. They're saying no because they don't know. And so it's the same in the business world, in your boss's world, in your painting world. And as women entering and getting to this place of equity in this world, and it's coming. But they say, you know, statistics, the thinkers in the world, they say it's going to be 20 years before women experience full parity. The reality is, okay, that's statistics, and maybe that's the continuum. But we can have that mind-blowing exponential leap, it's breakthrough in parity. It doesn't have to be 20 years. They just don't know, K-N-O-W. They don't know what they don't know.
We're in the process, and it's just getting better and better every day, right? We're in that upswing.
Yes. And I say keep the upswing and go for the skyrocketing, the bobsledding, the to the moon spaceship setting. Like we can do those mind-blowing exponential leaps. And even if you don't know how, you figure it out, right? And you listen to no, you just counter offer no, and you listen to no like K-N-O-W, and you think bigger than the lid, because we can't see outside that lid. We only know this space. Baby elephants have a little rope around their ankle, and they pull the stake out of the ground. But when they're 2 times in an adult, they can pull the stake out of the ground, but they just stay there with this little rope around their ankle because they don't know that now they're strong enough to pull the rope away and the stake away. Yeah. Because the baby, that's what they thought. And we have past lives and experiences that we think are valid and true. And they were only valid or true in that moment of that stage of our life experience. And it doesn't mean it's still true today. And you can fulfill on any single dream.
That's so beautiful. So the trick is to keep checking the rope, keep checking the lid on the jar, find out, realize when it's not there, and, and take advantage of that. And I know with painting, I know that especially having taught social painting classes like the one that you were in, a lot of non-artists come, they've never painted before, and they don't think that's something that's possible for themselves. They've tried a painting here and there, they haven't had the right instruction or the right amount of practice or time. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt when people walk into that room, they're going to leave with a beautiful painting. I know that. I have full confidence in their ability to do that. And so my job is to instill that confidence in me. Just have confidence in me. Listen to the instruction. Have confidence in yourself that you can do it. And then step by step, you get it. So I think I could probably apply that to myself and my own life. If people can walk into my classroom feeling like it's totally impossible for them to learn how to paint, especially in a 2-hour time frame, let alone more classes than that, then I should also know that if I'm present and I'm listening, I can also learn to do anything, just like you have.
Yes. But it's the vision that you set for yourself. So when I met you, in my head, my stretch goal was going to be, in 2017, I want to earn $2,000 for a speaking stage.
Yep.
And that was like a February stretch goal. And my February stretch goal now is to consistently earn $10,000 for a speaking stage. And it's not to earn. I have earned $10,000 for a speaking stage, right? October 2017. But I never in a million years in February would have believed that I could earn $10,000 for a speaking stage. In February, I never believed I would be on the stage with Jane Fonda at a top 10 event. Or I never believed that I'd be in LA with Mark Wahlberg or Mel Gibson or John Travolta or all the other A-listers. And last month, February 2018, I was on the stage with all the Young and the Restless, Kate Linder and Christian, who's Michael Baldwin in the Young and the Restless, and Kate Linder is Esther in the Young and the Restless, for those that watch soap operas. So now I'm on these big A-lister stages with 2,500 people in my audience, not 200. And I did not picture that dream. I didn't say I want to be on a stage with 2,500 people in my audience. I did not say I want to be sharing the same stages as A-listers. I didn't see that dream for myself because I couldn't believe that dream for myself.
Yeah.
And that was only February. And in October, I was in Sochi, Russia, earning $10,000. And in November, I was on a stage, November 9th, with Jane Fonda. And that's only a few months between February and October and November. And so the only thing limiting us is that dreaming bigger.
Right.
And seeing bigger. Like, imagine what I would have achieved had I, in February, not envisioned 2,000, but envisioned that I would be on a stage with A-listers and 2,500 in the audience. But now I see it, I believe it. And you've seen it from your practice, and so you believe it. So you start with little small beliefs, like you believe the traffic's going to be clear ahead. Mm-hmm. I believe it, and I'm going to focus on it. And then you get there, and the traffic's clear. Mm-hmm. Or you believe at Christmas time that the shopping mall is going to have parking for you.
I've had these experiences. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the parking's there. So you just need to increase that power of belief and that focus and that manifestation in small ways that you can believe.
In small ways.
Kids, I started that. Yeah. I started that tangent about how I went to this school with this girl, and I'm telling her, so manifest small ways about with the basket. So you're going to end up believing the rep team. Mm-hmm. I said, so tonight, what kind of supper? And she's like, well, what do you mean? I said, okay, right now I'm going to manifest spaghetti for supper. And I believe tonight there's going to be spaghetti for supper. And she's going to make your own supper. I'm like, no, my sister's making supper tonight. So I'm going to send you a picture of my supper. And I am believing and manifesting that my sister's going to make spaghetti for supper. Right?
Yes.
And I went home, and guess what my sister made? Spaghetti and meat sauce for supper. And I sent this girl a picture of my spaghetti supper. And she was just a student in a school in Scarborough, where I was doing a bit of community work for, and through the Rick Hansen Foundation.
Yeah.
And then it's the STYLE program, which is fun. STYLE is about youth and an after-school program.
Oh,
and they give a little bit of food to the kids after school. They're all teenagers in high school.
That's
so it's
amazing.
Neat. But who knew that taking a picture of my spaghetti was going to get this girl probably on a rep team in basketball? Right? We know with the Harlem Globetrotters that there's one or two short guys that do some amazing magic tricks because they scoot underneath everybody, right? So there's no reason why this girl can't be a basketball player if that's truly her journey. But I also told her not to attach herself to the thing. Picture big, dream big for yourself. But, I used to dream, I want to be married with a wonderful life partner and kids. And then once I started manifesting powerfully, I realized what was more magical for me. And I used to I want that promotion at work at Shoppers Drug Mart. And then I changed that to looking for would love a life where my way of being is laughter and magic. And the next day, I got laid off from my job. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? And then because I got laid off from my job, I went to look for a positive feeling, which was sailing, because what I focused on grows, and I didn't want to be sad about losing my job, so I didn't want more sad things coming into my life. I was petrified. Like, I feel horrible because I love my job, so I had to watch that, right? And so I love sailing, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go sailing, and that made me feel better, and I got on a plane. I got laid off at 11:30. I was on a plane at 5:30, going sailing for the weekend, just to get out of the, where you focus on grows, make sure I'm allowed to be sad and disappointed. I'm not saying don't be, but I was just so huge. I was afraid that I was going to have like a car accident on the way home or something, so I wanted to focus on something positive to drive home safe. And I got myself on a plane at 5:30 that day to go sailing. And that was the first day moment of truth that caused a very big journey in the Paralympic sailing trials. And if I hadn't done Paralympic trials, I wouldn't have done a World Cup regatta with able-bodied men. And if I hadn't done a World Cup regatta with able-bodied men, I wouldn't have been on this speaking journey where now I'm on stages with Jane Fonda with 2,500 in the audience.
So it was a moment of having a disappointment, being laid off from your job, and making a choice not to dwell in the bad feelings. Like, you experienced your bad feelings, but you made it. Yeah. But then you made a choice. You know what? I want to focus on what feels good, sailing. And it changed your life just to make that choice. That's really extraordinary.
On laughter, love, and magic. And so this journey, and I have had fiancés, and these fiancés, because I'm older, it seems like they all have kids now.
Right.
Later in life, so many people have kids in their life as part of the dating relationship. So there were kids in my life. And there's hundreds of kids in my life every week.
Yeah.
Because I'm on big stages with adults and corporations and finance and IT and pharmacy and, banking world and all these, the big corporate high performance world of business. But I also have lots of children in schools and colleges and universities in my life that if I get called to Barry, well, then I'll do a corporate gig, but then I'll visit a Barry school, right? And you've seen this probably on my social media where I'm in Oshawa at a big women's conference where there's 500 in the audience, but that I also happen to be in an Oshawa or a Whitby or a Durham elementary school that day, right? So I try to, if I'm out of town or out somewhere, I try to maximize reach to make a difference. If I'm benefiting, being grateful and if the universe is making a difference to me with a big stage, I try to make a difference back to the universe.
Well, that's so amazing. And I can't even imagine how much those kids benefit from hearing you speak and meeting you, because I know as a child, I would have benefited so greatly from meeting a person like you. When I was a little kid, I was so insecure and so inwardly focused. I was afraid of people, afraid of what people would think of me all the time. And because of that, I never, as a child, really maximized my potential because I was so frozen and paralyzed in those kinds of fears,
Yeah.
And so you're helping
not
kids.
Alone.
Yeah. So that's so extraordinary that you're doing that. I want to be respectful of your time. I know that you have probably a full day of inspiring people and being awesome and unstoppable. But why don't you tell everyone some more places where they can find out more information about you and what you're doing next?
Oh, Monique. Well, hopefully one of the things that I'm doing next is going to another paint party with Monique, which is where, how do we paint together with you too? I will share but how do we paint with you?
Oh, well, I actually have my own business now. It's called Paint Partiers. I'm just getting started as an entrepreneur. So right now I'm doing a lot of private and corporate parties. I don't have as many public parties scheduled just yet, but I'm working on that. But I do have a party coming up in Bowmanville at the Birch Bistro, and I do public parties there pretty regularly. So I'll get you a message about the date of that.
Yes, I was just in Bowmanville.
Yeah? My artwork is hanging right now at the Birch Bistro.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I hope that we all end up meeting at the Birch Bistro in Bowmanville with Monique and I, and you get to feel what she did for me. She just filled me with abundance and capability that I think was a massive contributor to, my skyrocketing 14 months, because I had this vision and I did it, and the universe brought her into my life and filled my soul so that I could launch into this amazing 14 months. I don't know if Monique even had an idea of the difference she made to me, not just painting that day, but in self-confidence of myself that launched me into not only my painting that's hanging in my niece's bedroom, but also into this incredible speaking entrepreneur career. You're a piece of my puzzle for that Jane Fonda stage, right? And so if you want to have me on your stage, or you want to reach out and just have me as a lifeline, like our beautiful Monique. Thank you, Monique, for making a difference in my life. I want to make a difference in return for the difference Monique made to me on unstoppabletracy.com. And there's no E in Tracy. No arms, no legs, and no E. It's unstoppabletracy.com. All one word, 2 P's in unstoppable. And or you can have a free copy of my book, unstoppableyobook.ca. Unstoppableyobook.ca. And it's free download. And there's coaching questions in there. And by putting your email in there, I'll email you a download, and we can stay in touch. And I can tell you when I'm visiting Monique, And I can tell you when I'm traveling the world in my 18 countries, so maybe I'm in a city or a country near you.
Oh,
or you are at school and you want me to come visit.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, yeah. You'll just come to schools if they call you and they want you to speak?
Yes,
that's
small, but I definitely would love that. And I would love to see Monique again and see you with me and Monique, because she shifted my life. You have no idea what these painting parties can do. On top of the camaraderie with my friends, and although I didn't sit together, I had a very bonding evening. I also launched my life because of the confidence she gave me.
You are so incredibly generous. You probably saw me wiping away my tears because that was so beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. And I would love to do something together where we have a talk and a paint party together. Yeah, let's organize that. That'd be so fabulous.
You can imagine that.
Yeah.
We're going to have Unstoppable Tracy Magic Monique Night.
Woo! I love that. That's exactly what we'll call it. Well, I know from my perspective, I'm moving into an absolutely magical day after this conversation. What a great way to start the day. Thank you so much for encouraging me to do this interview early. As an artist and musician, I'm usually up late, but this was amazing for me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Unstoppable Tracy loves you with Magic Monique.
Bye, Tracy. We love you too. Virtual hugs.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, what an awesome conversation. If you want to learn more about the Unstoppable Tracy Schmitt, please go ahead and check out her website, unstoppabletracy.com. The link will be in the description. Also, please like and subscribe to our episodes, and we'll see you next time on The Raw Perspective.